Here we go. Watch me flex my flow. You'll be the next to know. Spit it hot flambeau. Swing them bars like whoa. Grab the remote control. Must have called a million times. I'm on the other side. Hello. Better watch that stream. Caught up in the track to beat. Scrub that beat with bleach. So when I hit it, bro, I spit it clean. Burn it now. Have to turn the furnace down. Y'all don't want this beef. I hit them with a holy cow. Hit them with the verse. Got them thinking, wow. This ain't a game, kid, why you play around? This that ill spit, them bars are so sick. I'll shock the whole world, anaphylactic. Every single time, I spit another rhyme. The planets all align, so bright I blind them with my shine. Bro, I'm designed to make your confidence decline. Every line about to blow like stepping on a landmine. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh my God. Welcome to episode 60. It's a nice round number. I'm digging it. And I'm your host, Adam Ross. Like you didn't know that in the first place. But we got a stacked show. I actually have some notes here on my Cow RC mat that I'm using with the Sharpies that are, get them messed around. Jim, what's up, bud? Basically, we're going to jump right into it. We have a special guest to kind of go through what's going on with the Silver State race recap. We got the Barnyard race number 1, and we got O Town number 2. So buckle up and definitely hold on for, a pretty cool show, if I must say so myself. But we got somebody on board waiting to come on and say hello and, make sure that we still know that he's racing locally. We got none other than this guy right now. Douglas, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam.
Hey, man, I got to say, you are coming off 2 back-to-back epic weekends, and we will have to get into that shortly, but how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Man, not too bad. We were talking a little bit behind the scenes, and I wish that people could actually hear kind of what you were talking about with the Silver State. Noah, what's up, big guy? And kind of jump right into it because it was a cool race. Lots of stories going on, and we're gonna kind of have to jump into it. The biggest surprise to you at Silver State? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna say Ruffalo because that guy couldn't win anything in America, and he comes and then wins one of the biggest events. It's a pretty big shocker to us. So
that was huge. So first off, there was over 1,100 entries. That is crazy. And you can see that one is blocked by us, but basically you can see how many heats there were. It was insane. Yeah. So I'm going to try and jump into the A mains for the pros. And the first one that we have is going to be the Pro Nitro Truggy A main, and not surprised though. Ryan Mayfield, fellow techno guy, and definitely I feel the Truggy has fit him better than the Buggy so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 2 though, Ryan Lutz, very surprised at that because Kyoshos are normally known for the blown out surfaces and them fixing the track every night. I don't know.
Yeah, I could appreciate that though as a driver because the problem is that the track gets so blown out so bad.
Yeah, Dennis actually got me some behind the scenes stuff, and it looks like he had a blast.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why they won't do that because there's probably so much prototype stuff that's going on their cars that you don't know about. The last thing they want is some guy, when you're not in your pits, snapping a photo and going on Facebook, Instagram, or social media and going, what is this car? And it's completely different than the production car. That's why they'll never do that.
But, man, all I got to say is that the factory pilots deserve factory support. And if they have something that they would like to test, I'm all on board for that. Because guess what? If they can prove it out in the field, eventually it's going to be a production part if they can prove it out. And I would like the pros to figure it out before the Joes. That's for sure.
How do you think the R&D happens? It gets given to the guys who can drive the best and test it at many levels and abilities and different track surfaces to make sure that it works. It's the only way it's going to get the production.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel that most of the top guys are usually running stuff that's not accessible to the average Joe because you know what? They deserve it. They're there for a reason, and their whole mission is to showcase their talent with the best products that their sponsors and supports can give them.
Yeah.
So let's bring this back up, and we'll go to the next one here. And there is quite a bit. Like the next one is going to be, I think, electric buggy, a main. Coming up here. I can't believe how many freaking. There's the D main. Because they did electric and truggy together, I think, right?
I think so, yes. Or was it truck and truck together? Or
okay.
23. 23 is buggy.
Pro A main. There it is. Yeah, so they did it earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
So, no surprise here. Dakota TQ'd all three classes. So I'm not surprised at this. Any surprises with electric here?
Rivkin being so high.
Now, do you think it's coming off of the high that he had with the 10 scale stuff? Because now that he's figured out what to do to stay on pace with Dakota, I think it's giving him a little bit of extra confidence.
Maybe, but my concern to that is if it worked in e-buggy, why couldn't he translate it over to nitro buggy or nitro truck? So
I think it's because he is a 10 scale guy at heart, and that trigger finger is more suited for the 8 scale e-buggy. And I just feel that, the way that he drives in his style, it just suits him a little bit better. But still, Dakota just on a tear. We'll talk about that like the next reel here because I'm actually blown away. Nitro Truggy, everybody knows that there was a little fupa in the fuel stop there, and he flamed out and gave it away. Over a 9-second lead there.
But again, that's something that it happens. It probably won't happen again. It's just the way it is.
So, electric pro truck. Mason definitely shown he has speed in multiple classes. I was really impressed with him.
Yeah. His truck was on point all the whole time.
Well, he got 2/3 and a first in the pro classes that he was in. So that's not too bad.
True.
You know what I mean? He had a really decent weekend. Yeah. And if Steve's watching with the kids, that means Hot Bodies did okay. They got a new sheriff in town, and it's not my favorite Hot Bodies guy, that's for sure. So Spencer, again, pretty respectable, but it's electric again.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, and it's so hard to say, too, because it's like, I don't know if he was really a one lap down or it's when the timer does that stupid thing where it does like 9:59 that screws up the lap pace because it doesn't click properly. Or was he really a lap down? Because if you give a 2/10 fast lap, I don't expect you to be a lap down in 10-minute race, especially at that level. So, I don't know. But again, he did great. So, but again, I don't know. The e-truck class is so weird because I feel like this year it really picked up with the pros, especially going with like DNC and all the big events. Because I think they're doing it because of the track time. Everyone wants a track time as much as possible because you get so little track time with these classes. So they're like, hey, we'll give you everything to run the car. Just run it and use it for wheel time, and then work on the classes that you want to dedicate to whatever it is, and then just use these classes as a filler. Here's the thing, blah blah blah. Use it as filler. Because that's what I think with the e-truck. That's all I think it is for most guys. Because your competitives are nitro, and e-buggy. That's all. That's always the way it's going to be.
It is pretty much is.
So.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this back up, and the one surprise that's in there is Fee Long. Like, that was insane. He's coming off of a great weekend. We'll get into what he's accomplished because it's going to be up next. But he was so competitive last year in Truggy that I'm a little surprised that he was down this far.
I'm also going to be surprised at that because I watched all the qualifiers, and him and Mason were just going at it the entire time.
Right.
I mean, other than the one qualifier, his wheel fell off, which was pretty bizarre. I think he should have been top 3 in my opinion. I mean, unless he just had a bunch of mistakes, which that's how it seemed like it would be. But again, it's also like, other than Ryan Lutz and Mayfield, the top 2 guys were half a second faster, 4/10 faster.
Know.
So I don't know what happened there. Maybe he just really focused on the buggy aspect and kind of left the Truggy alone, which from results wise, that's what it seems like.
It makes sense.
I don't know, because I feel like Ichuggy was his forte. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting to say the least.
It's almost like it switched for him, but let's face it, buggy is where you want to showcase your
buggy's
talent.
Where it's at. Truggy is like, okay, whatever. It's the truth. It's the truth. When you think of a win, the first thing you think of is you think of Nitro Buggy, then you go to E-Buggy, then you go Nitro Truck, and then you go E-Chuggy.
Agreed. Yeah,
that's the way it goes.
That is the way it goes. And it's funny to hear you saying that because you dominate in all those classes. But we'll get to that in 2 seconds because that's up number 2 here. So last but not least, we're going to talk about the Pro Nitro Buggy. And he said it earlier, man. The big surprise was Marco Barufalo coming all the way from Europe and figuring out that techno and putting it on the top spot. But little bump, second place. Awesome to see him battling for the win. Mason, another solid third. Like, he had a great weekend as well. So did Lutz, though. Lutz was over that podium.
Lutz was extremely silent the entire weekend. Like, he was posted, but everyone's eyes were really, really on him.
No,
but man, when he came up and I was like, man, he got this, and this. I was like, damn, he had a great weekend. But I don't think really anybody realizes how well the weekend he really had.
No, he was one of those unsung heroes.
Exactly.
And rounding out the top 5 is Dakota Fenn, and I am shocked that he flamed out 1 in Nitro Truggy, but again in the buggy class. Like, I know you got to stretch out your fuel strategies and do whatever at that top level, but Dakota was clearly faster than anybody else and should have just stuck to the same pit strategy as the other fast guys. Stop being fancy, stick to the basics, and dude, you're already proven to be the fastest. It's crazy.
That's exactly what he tried to do. He went, I can stretch another lap. I got this. And then it didn't. Then it didn't happen. And it's like, for you having the 8 or 9 second lead that you're going to have, you're not going to lose that in the pit stop when you say your pit stop is 6 or 7 seconds. You're not going to lose that. And then because you pit with that, you drop 1 at the end. So instead of losing or only losing still being ahead of 2 seconds, and by the end having 11, potentially more, obviously, because he gains, you now are back 5 positions, or ended up back 5 positions. Like, I don't know.
You kind of just screwed yourself over.
Yeah.
It was just weird to see it because his package has been solid lately. But what can you remember what we talked about behind the scenes? I would love everybody to see what your point of view was. But basically, you were saying about how he was trying to stretch out the fuel and that the last few races, it was a shorter mains. So for 45, you're saying that you have to hit 9 to eliminate a stop or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
So can you just explain that?
Basically, the only ever time you'll see anything longer than 45 is at the Worlds, and it's an hour. So that's when you'll see people who want to do that 10-minute mark, but usually the World tracks are so big, you can never make the 10-minute. So you end up doing that 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, somewhere in there, because that's what it equals out to being. But once you hit that 45-minute, if you can do 9 minutes a stop, you can drop one stop from a guy doing 7.5.
So
But
that's
again,
where you would pick up one whole
one
pit stop,
full
which
stop.
is about 7 seconds, even if they have a
Yeah.
5-second stop, right?
Yeah. So if you have, because here's the thing, if the car is only up in the air for say 4 or 5 seconds, you still have to get the time coming in, taking out. So say your pit lap takes 8 seconds, 7, 8 seconds, whatever it is extra between coming and coming out. If you have that 9-second lead, you're still ahead. But again, on a track like Silver State, where laps are almost 40 seconds, and you don't want to come in at 8:50,
Right.
you just stretch that 8:50 to almost 9:30.
So
And
that
30-second chunk is huge, because anywhere else, 30 seconds is like a lap and a little bit. Plus,
right.
you just took an extra 15 seconds, tacked it on, and that you didn't make the one lap.
Right. And
So
if they missed a couple CCs, just a couple CCs could be that difference.
100%. Like, put it this way, I don't know. I don't remember where he stalled on the track at that point. But like, even if he was in the back 3-4 corners before the straightaway, if he has 5 CCs still left in the tank, he'll get it probably still in the pit lane.
Right.
Like,
So
as long as, hence the point, you probably don't squeeze the crap out of it. You'll get it into pit lane. It may stall coming in, but you'll get it there. But
it's an odd mistake.
I feel like I put the liability on the pit guy, because as a pit guy, that's your job. Hey, come in now. Hey, we're going for another lap. Hey. And then as a driver, I mean, again, you're the ultimate yes or no, but the pit guy's there to make that like suggested recommendation. And usually you end up going with it because he knows the time, he knows the lap, he's on top of it. Plus, he's the guy who normally pits you. That's who you go with. But
see, that's like Den. I always trusted whatever Den told me.
Because I don't know if maybe his pit guy said, because here's the thing too. His pit guy could have said, hey, come in. And Fenn said, no, I'm going for another lap.
Maybe. We don't know that. We
don't know that. And it could be also vice versa. His pit guy said, hey, we're going for another. And Fenn was like, no, I want to come in. And then he just trusted his pit guy.
Right.
Which was fine, but then it screws him at the end. So,
well, this was a big one because not only did it happen in Truggy, it actually happened
in Buggy.
Again, so.
Yeah. That's what I don't understand. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, if you had it happen once.
Right.
Wouldn't you have learned from the first try to fix the second try? Especially because you're at that level?
Yeah,
like,
man.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, he literally just went like this and said, here's the win, and threw it away. Literally.
Gave it away.
I was like, dude, there's nobody else flaming because everyone else can do 7.5, 8, or just do before 8. Because they know that they would rather play it safe, make sure they can drive the car hard and consistent for the entire time, and have a little bit of fuel extra, than risk stretching it, like what Fenn did, and flaming, and having to drive smoother more than what they're capable at.
Correct.
So
it was nuts. It was nuts. Honestly, because like it made it exciting though, because it would have been like watching this Douglas Schufeld kid pull away and almost forget that he's at the event. Like, it was funny because we'll get into it. I didn't even know Douglas was at O Town this weekend until I got the results sheet, but we'll get into that in a second. So before we get away from Silver State, I want to just bring this up. We actually had some Cal RC products that Heath was nice enough to donate to the show. Thank you, Heath. And Cal RC But I thought I was going to give away to a whole bunch of people. There was over 17 picks. And guess what? Out of all 17 picks, only 2 people. That's right. Only 2 people got 1 pick right. Not the whole thing. Only 1 right. So in the thing of giving, what I'm going to do is Rob say, congratulations, you were 1. Your only right pick was Barufalo, which is surprising. You're the only one that picked Barufalo. Wasn't in the right spot, but you are on the map. And the only other one beyond that was Steve. And oh my God, Slot a Graph. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name completely bad, but you also won with having Mason Fuller. And unfortunately, he finished 3rd, so it wasn't in the same spot as well. But congratulations to you 2. Both of you guys are going to get the trifecta. Each of you guys are going to get the sample size of the new Cow RC premix. You're going to get the sample hide wipes, and you guys are going to get the utter butter. And I'm telling you, I thought I was going to be giving away all this stuff individually, but only 2 people got it. So you're both going to get the exact same prize. So thank Heath. You're getting the trifecta package, and we will definitely hook up. Rob, I know who you are. Steven, you're going to have to message me, and we will hook something up. But thank you guys for playing. I love seeing all the comments and stuff like that, and it made it a little bit more fun for me on the show. But I just want to show this real quick because now that we have all of the cool stuff. Steve, what's up, big guy? Matt, what's going on, man? Missed you at the track again this weekend, man. I can't wait to race with you again. So, number 1, Dakota. David Angaro up a spot as well. Juan Carlos Canas up a spot as well. Ryan Mayfield, though, dropping 3 ever since he got the T word. He's got to figure something out, man, because this weekend it looked good, but it's definitely, I think, tougher for people to switch brands than they think.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, man. Especially at that level, to just try to jump in and then be exactly where you were before. Man, it's brutal.
Absolutely. Happy to see David going up 1. I think he's a really good driver. And then sad to see Ty drop out of the top 5 because I love seeing him in the top 5. But I thought I'd just bring that up and show everybody. I thought it was pretty cool that DP is on the top.
Now, here's my question, though. With Angaro getting second to Canas in that race that just finished this weekend, how much will that displace Angaro to Fenn? Will it suck up the 1.4 points?
It will depend on when he recalculates what drops off, because it'll be the result that drops off that has a bigger impact than the new one. Because finishing second is still really good, though, man. Like it's almost like finishing second to this guy over here. Oh man, but no, you're right, because this is just cool to talk about, but it's not like a real world ranking or anything like that. No. I just thought it was cool just because we were talking about the pros and just having some fun with it. But speaking of fun, the last 2 weekends for you. Yeah, I got it pulled up now. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Barnyard. I do apologize. I had to do the Cow RC show, so I did not have time to do a show on the same weekend, so you'll have to bear with me for that. So the Barnyard race number 1, the track looked awesome. Everybody looked like they had a good time, and the results are pretty sick. We'll bring it up right here. We're gonna skip to the A main in each of the classes. So first up is 4-wheel drive Truck A main, which is the Baby Trugs, and it's cool to see that they are still racing and rocking and rolling with those. I really wish that would take off locally, but I'm not.
That's 4-wheel drive short course.
What?
That's 4-wheel drive short course, not Baby Truggy.
truck, A main, 4-wheel drive truck.
Yeah, that's so what at the barn they call baby truggy.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
the 4x4 short course, A main.
Yeah.
And Coop actually had some competition. Jeez Louise. All right, so Tim taking the win on that. Scott in the number 2, Coop in the number 3. We'll do top 5. You got Phil. Oh man, Noah must have been super happy about that, man. Getting up in there with those guys in the top 5. Always cool to see him up there. I know Noah is always the number 1 fan for his dad.
Mhm.
All right, so then we got 2-wheel drive, short course A main. Ryan Fireball McKay usually has a good showing in this, and how did he do? Second, not too shabby, but had nothing for Justin, it seems. So Justin taking the win. Ryan in the 2. Mike Dory, the doctor, in the number 3. Trevor Thornton in the 4th. And is that Thornton's kid?
I can't see because of the images. I don't know.
Same
It might
last
be
name.
him.
That's why.
It might be him. Yeah.
Okay. And then Adam rounding out the top 5 in 2-wheel drive short course. Up next, we got the 2-wheel drive buggy A main. Damn, this looks like a stacked field right here. So you got Scott taking the win, Justin in the number 2, Monty Wolf still holding it down in 10 scale in the 3rd spot, Steve Bowman in the number 4, and Rob Wheeler in the number 5. Definitely 2-wheel drive is alive and kicking there. Nice to see. Up next, we got the 4-wheel drive buggy A main. These are land missiles. This is definitely a class that I'm going to jump into for sure. Taking the top spot, you got Monty Wolf over Kyle, which is very impressive because Kyle's been on a tear lately. Scott in the number 3. Doug Martin Doogie? Jeez, I am so sorry.
He's from the RC Niagara, the smaller indoor track in St.
All right.
area.
I can say Martin, but I am sorry about your last name. And then Jammin' Jim in the number 5 spot. Super cool to see him. He's definitely been turning it on as of late for sure. And then see how this is 4-wheel drive short course A main?
Maybe we're right.
Once in a
I don't
while.
know. I don't remember, dude.
I don't even remember. Because Coop told me he won. That's why I was like, what the heck?
Maybe he's right.
Yeah. So, no,
I
he
don't
won
remember
the
the baby truck.
I had to scratch his short course.
Oh, my God.
That's all good. But, all right. So, Coop definitely showing that he's the man at the Barnyard in 4x4 short course. Coming for you, big guy. I'm bringing the heat. They're going to have to pick the right tire, though. Oh, my God. We'll get into that when we talk about O Town, though. Number 2, Shane Ward. Number 3, Tim, man. Tim was definitely fast. Number 4, Nick Schneider. And number 5 was Trevor Thornton again. So, man, he's hanging over at the Barnyard right now. Every time you make the top 5, it's always good. That's basically what you want to do. And you'd be happy with that. So setting the TQ, running out front. Does anybody have anything for the kid? Let's see. Yeah. Why am I not surprised? Douglas Schufeld taking the win, tone to tone. Kyle in the number 2, awesome to see. Rob Vanez, awesome run, buddy. Top 3 for him, beating Monty Wolf, and then Steve Bowman rounding out the top 5. Looks like a lot of fun there. Douglas with the only 21 lapper. Damn, dude, your top 5 was freaking 21s. Jeez Louise. That's insane. Your average was only 98.8%. What would you have to like scratch your eye or something? Like, what happened? Jeez, lap traffic. I'll blame it on that. But Douglas looking good already. So there's win number 1 so far of his 2-day race weekend. Day 1 was at the Barnyard, obviously, that we're talking about, and day 2 was yesterday at O Town. Up next, we got 2-wheel drive truck A main. Doug Martin taking the win, tone to tone. Steve in the number 2. Darren Martin, awesome to see, in the number 3. And Mark Petronas in the 4. And Craig Albertine in the number 5. Craig was looking pretty racy this weekend at O Town as well. It was super cool to see for sure. And up next, we had you raced E-Truggy there too, dude?
Yeah, I only race the E-Buggy E-Truggy when I go there.
So I must have missed this, but obviously TQ and the win. Wow. That's insane, dude. You're running low 21s. So obviously you're a little bit quicker with the Truggy.
Yeah, the Buggy could have been a little quicker. I don't know. I just couldn't piece together the lap at the end, I guess, to make it. But it was pretty good, yeah.
It looks fast. But 20 lapper, Douglas Schufeld taking the win. Kyle in the number 2. So great weekend for Kyle. Tim in the 3 spot, battling through because he started in 8th. Jeremy Chu in the 4th, and Coop rounding out the top 5. Probably had a little bit issues there because Coop is a man on the mission with that Truggy, man. He ain't scared to pull it. That is for sure. So not a bad weekend out at the Barnyard. So before we get into O Town and the O Town results, what was the Barnyard like, bud?
It was good. Fun. It was really close to probably like John's was. Kind of that little bit dusty, kind of grooved up towards the end. But it was really weird. The first race was the track was very like damp, and it stayed damp the entire race.
Nice.
We didn't really we saw a groove in the sections that were dried up, but the damp sections stayed damp. Like even though they blowed it, it stayed very damp. So it was different, but it was like it's probably the only time, the time you're gonna see the track that damp the whole time.
Right. So, it's just one of those weird things, but it rained a lot before. Yeah. So
that was why I think it stayed so damp, was because of how much rain they got. But yeah.
And it cooled down at night too.
Yeah.
It was still a little chilly. A little too chilly for Ross Racing, that's for sure. But we will definitely
got pretty chilly, yeah.
We'll make the trip down to the Barnyard. It's definitely an awesome track, and I got to hit up line 29 as well. I got my basher ready too, which is going to be sick. So I'm looking forward to rocking and rolling with that. And if we're lucky, Michaela is going to have an Sworkz basher. We finally were able to keep one in stock long enough for us to try and build it now, so it's going to be super cool. And the cool thing about that is it's going to be all Sworkz powered too. Like the whole kit is going to be Sworkz, and it's to go against that Techno Basher.
Awesome.
I don't know if you've seen that, but I've seen a couple at the line 29 from last season, and I'm like, all right, we got a Basher too. We're gonna throw in the Basher class.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love having fun, backflips and all that stuff. I'm more there for the shenanigans. Yeah. So before we move on to O Town, I don't even want to put you on the spot because, who was your competition?
At the Barnyard. Honestly, at Barnyard?
Yeah.
Kyle's always a good, always puts me on my toes.
Awesome.
It's one of those races where it's man, anything could happen because I have DNFs. Something happens. I was testing a couple things. Anything goes even one thing goes the wrong way, and you're like, man, you went from doing well to oh my god, I'm back in the C-sort.
Right.
So, but no, Kyle keeps on my toes. Really, anybody there can keep you on my toes. So yeah, it's always a lot of fun racing there.
Man, I'm hoping that you can help bring him to the next level, but I know it's definitely cool to see how fast you've gotten, especially we'll talk about it right after we go over the O Town results, because seeing the whole team kind of come around you and support you, and you guys doing like super cool things behind the scenes that like we were talking about earlier, and the results are showing, man. And kind of we'll just jump into it because you kind of had 2 weekends in a row that were just great. It's what's that? It's rare when Douglas needs a marshal. Well, he had 98.8% consistency. I don't think he needed one. Did you need one marshal?
Not that run.
I didn't think so.
At Barn, I don't know. Not in that race. I had a better round of consistency than that, but yeah.
Then have you ever had a 99?
I had a 99.2 at Barn.
So that's your best.
Yeah, but before that, it was a 99.1 in on-road. So my best was in off-road. I topped it 2 weekends ago in E-Truck, one of the qualifiers.
Damn. So now Nathan loves the E-Truggy compared to the Buggy, and is it just because it's that much more forgiving, you think?
The best way I can explain a Truggy to someone is it's like a Buggy on steroids, except everything is just so numb, and you can overdrive it and get away with it. Where with the Buggy, if you overdrive it, you could run into mistake after mistake after mistake. Where with the Truggy, everything is so big and large that it just sucks up everything.
Yeah.
So you can get away with a lot of things, and that's why some drivers, they prefer the truck, because it's like they're like, man, I can hit some pipes, go over pipes, and not have to worry about it. But then someone will go, I drive it, and I go, well, it's just so big. Well, that's one of the things that guys are in Buggy. But realistically, it's just the car is just so much bigger, and everything is just so much longer and wider and more stable that you can just get away with a lot more in that class than you can with E-Buggy.
Oh, Coop, we were talking about you, man. Definitely got some paint from my truck to get it back from you. But good win at the Barnyard. We just talked about that. The new engine. They're asking what you thought about it from this weekend.
It's amazing, man. It's super powerful, really smooth. Everything I could have asked for, it's there. I have no complaints about it.
It looked like definitely you had it under control, and like I was saying earlier, like the support that you had is what made it like super cool and over the top, because you need good support in order to be a champ.
I agree.
So let's get into some O Town racing action, and we're gonna look at that. Electric Buggy E main, crazy how many they had. So we're gonna go. See, actually, I can't believe John pulled it off. Like the weekend was epic, and for what he had to go through. Actually, okay, we'll come back to the Nitro Buggy A main. We'll save that for last. But first up, we got the 4-wheel drive A main. Oliver taking the TQ, but look at that, Johnny Rocket getting the win. And I just got to do a little Sworkz plug here. First time with the Sworkz wheeler, he was able to pull off the win. So I'm super proud of Johnny Rocket. He definitely did really good. And he was just like testing this car out for me so I can race it at Spark. So now I'm even more looking forward to running this car because I feel it's capable now. Let's see if the driver can do it. Number 2, Oliver. Oliver really impressed me. He's part of the new Traction RC team, and Wesley has put on a great team. And having Oliver on board, seeing him working in the pits, it was impressive. Rob Mitchell, awesome run, 3rd place. Jam and Jim, again, right there in the hunt, definitely impressed me. And Noah, let me just scroll down here, rounding out the top 5. Definitely a super cool, fun class, and I'm happy that Johnny Rocket has 2 wins in this class now.
Yeah, the car looked really, really, really good. Yeah, it was really solid.
Man, dude, I can't wait to try it. I got to try it at John's track the day after race number 1, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, "There's no way you could drive this track with a 5.5." Like I felt like it
Honestly,
was way too
you could
much.
definitely get away with even faster. So I'm telling you right now, there was a lot of cars, and especially in that 4Jet buggy class, that were underpowered for that track.
Man, I didn't even think this guy was gonna tune in for that. But yeah, no,
Like,
Johnny said that like he even had to roll on the throttle more than he was used to. He said that
yeah,
it had tons of power coming down that
don't get me
straight.
wrong, you're gonna have to roll on the throttle from lower turn you get, but it's not just having the roll on the throttle; it's having the power available to get in and out of the corner. Because a lot of guys are then squeezing it and their motors are topping out. Because I can remember when I ran 4Jet buggy at Otterville.
Yeah,
And I ran a 6.5, but the 6.5 I had in there had turbo and a bunch of other things, and I was an on-road 6.5, so there was mods done to the inside of the motor just to get more RPM out of it.
right.
But those things, I was like, man, the 6.5 is good, but man, it's okay if I would love to go faster. And don't get me wrong, like I don't know what 5.5 is in this car, but like I bet you he could get away with even something like a 5.0 or even a 4.5. Like I'm not joking because look at guys like Orlowski.
Yeah.
Any kind of decent size track he goes to, 4.5 is always in the 4-wheel buggy, and it's always a 6.5 or a 6.0 in the 2-wheel buggy. Always.
And to me, that's bonkers because in a
It's
two-wheel drive, I'm
bonkers.
like,
But what does Fen run?
he runs something that's shaved off and it says Fen Edition because like that guy
Pretty
is
sure. I'm
probably
pretty sure it's a
running a
5.
3.
I'm
No,
pretty sure it's a 5 and a 5.0 in the buggy and a 6 in the 2-wheel. From the last time he had numbers written on the cans.
yeah,
I
running.
mean,
You think that's so crazy? Like that's
and
fast.
again, to boot, the reason why he goes 5.0 a little smoother, but it's a Trinity. The Trinities make high quality motors that are very, very, very strong.
Okay.
So his 5.0 is probably is just as fast as someone else's 4.5 or even a 4.0, whatever it is, to someone else like another brand for sure. Just because of how strong the stators are, the rotors, everything inside the internals of the motor. So
Yeah, you know what, Andre? He's definitely been stepping it up. And if you follow the Trinity page, it actually, well, if you can believe what he reports, it actually says what motors he's running. And he's running super hot stuff. Like I'm telling you, it's like lower turns than even I thought. And if you're at that level, you could probably use that power, but you better be buttery smooth coming out of the turns because if you're in two-wheel drive, it can't be like ripping and gripping. You can't point and shoot it. It'll
no,
just you'll be doing donuts and not liking your car at all.
yeah,
So
it,
definitely have
it's a
some fun with it.
it's a super 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 fine line. It
Yeah,
either will work or just not. And again, it also comes down to the driver because if the driver wants to be more trigger happy, you got to put a little smaller motor in there so you're not spinning the whole time.
right.
But you may use slightly more battery because you're wide open most of the time. Where with
Agreed.
that,
There's a trade-off.
exactly. Where with
Yeah.
that faster motor, you're not on it all the time, but you may not be draining as many milliamps. But when you do get on it, you're going to drain the milliamps.
You're just
So
pulling.
yeah, it's a fine line between slow and fast and what you want to do. But I feel like the faster motor is the way to go because this is the way I thought about it. You can give a lot of guys more power and they'll go slower.
Oh, I'm me. This
But
guy.
again, but if you can, to a guy, it's better for the person to learn how to drive it, or if you're driving well but you don't think it's the next level, I feel like giving you more power is a good option as long as you're ready for it. But you also have to be ready for the hiccups and challenges that come with it.
Not ready.
But that's the thing though.
It's so true.
Because at the end of the day, it's like the best way I can compare it is it's like in a stock class on road, and the guy's got to the 9 17.5, and you
Right.
have some just off the shelf hobby wing. And it's like, well, of course you're gonna get smoked because that guy's got way more power than you or RPM.
Right.
But again, then you can do the opposite way, and well, this guy who has a slower motor but can drive better beats the guy with the faster motor because he's not used to the power. But again, it's one of those things. It's like, man, okay, Matt, no, the truck's fast enough. It's not fast enough. Put a bigger pinion on it or slap some turbo on it because it's okay. But it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just, I feel like as a driver, you need to learn how to handle it because you won't get any better if you can't.
And that's why I uncorked my kids this season. They're at 100% jam.
I get it at the beginning because they can't keep between the pipes. I understand that. So they gotta learn how to do the steering, the throttle, keep between the pipes. But the minute they can keep between the pipes the whole time, then you start bumping. And then when they get to that 100% and keep it between the pipes, then per track, you make sure your car has enough power. Because I guarantee you, because from one track to the other, I don't run the same settings, like for like power wise. Like my e-buggy, if I go to barn, I take a little bit out because of how much a little bit shorter it is straightaway side, and I want the more torque. But if I go some track at like Wicked, my e-buggy was running Blinky for Otterville. I put 20 degrees of turbo in it for Wicked. Just because the straightaway was 100 feet, maybe 50, 60, 70 feet longer than what we're used to. I
can just imagine the RPM you were turning.
Dude, it's way more open. So you can get away with that because you're not always wide open on those tracks. And you're constantly going because you have to drive that smoother power band. And it's so hard because 10 pilots really not ready for adults. But that's and I'm not gonna lie to you. The first thing that everyone thinks about when they think of 045, it's too fast. Right. And I go, you can't think about it between it being too fast. You have to think about it as this is what it takes to get to the next level, or this is what my car is lacking. And it's the tune of a motor or the turn or how fast you're going. You have to think about it as it's just like changing a setup tune on the chassis of the car. Oh, my car doesn't have enough grip. I changed the camber. Oh, my car's too high. I lowered it. It's just another tool or adjustment you can make to get your car that much faster.
Agreed. No, that's the best way to put it. Yeah. If you can figure that part out of it, it'll complement the rest of the package.
100%.
Yeah. So what's the difference?
Okay, so boost, you set the start point and end point of where you want it to kick in. Turbo, you just
delay it.
Set how delayed you want it to be. So once you squeeze it, how delayed it kicks
1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds.
Yeah. Usually, because there's a big enough turn and there's enough turbo in it, you can make it a 0-second delay, and it will still have a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
But the reason why we use turbo over boost is because boost sucks more milliamps out of the battery. Because the minute you reach that RPM, it kicks in.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. You could just be blipping it, and it's kicking in on you, and you're sucking milliamps going nowhere, even though because you're hitting the brakes immediately.
Yeah.
Where with turbo, it doesn't kick in until, for me, it's like I can set what point of the throttle it kicks in for me. So like if I want 50%, 90%, 100%, whatever it is. But that's why a lot of guys do it like that. Because with the boost, you click that, and you just sucked all that milliamp that it takes to get going right out of the battery, and you didn't go anywhere because you didn't feel it.
Right.
So the turbo helps with that because once it's in, it's in. So it's a little bit of an adjustment driving wise, but in the long run, it's the better way to go. So if I turn down my power, I'll keep it between the pipes. Well,
we'll have to see. We'll have to work on that with you, bud.
Matt, I feel like you can keep it between the pipes. I just feel like after one mistake, you end up getting flustered, and then you make more mistakes because you're trying to push.
The first time we ran the P&B, oh my God, Dennis!
Yeah.
The first time I hit like the wood ramps too. Like I didn't even think that we'd be able to clear it, and you could probably like just barely even touch the gas, and you're clearing every jump there.
Yeah. But that's how they design those things. It's just like, man, you need the power for the straight line, but they'll make sure that when you're on the infield, you don't need to get trigger happy to get over something.
You need that torque. You need that bottom
Exactly.
end still.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to find the balance.
So, yeah.
All right, so I've avoided this long enough. Let's get it over with. So we got the 4x4 short course A main. The Otter and Quick were nice enough to crash each other out a few times to give me the overall TQ, which obviously I needed the bonus points because when the mains came around, I ended up going with the DE rim with a hole shot because I thought that it would be the best tire, and it was too good. I could not. My dual rate ended up being 61% by the time I was done for the main, and I was still traction rolling. Like, I was like, how is this even possible? I crashed that short course truck more in this race than I think that short course has ever been crashed. It got to the point where I was like, Coop, just go, bud, just go. Like, I'm taking everybody out right now. So, Quick ended up with the win. Mike Moore Sr., best finish ever. Mike killed it. He had to be there in order to get that position. There was a little bit of a mess up from the Otter, and he had, I don't know, a lap lead and threw his pinion gear right out of the truck. He didn't need it anymore. He was trying to save weight or something. I don't know. But, honestly, that back section was like the wow factor of the 4x4 short course qualifying, and what an epic battle between you two. I kind of knew my role. I was just staying out of the way, staying clean, and obviously I had to be there at the end. And man, tires. Oh my God, I can't reiterate how important tires are. Do not change tires for the mains unless you know what you're doing. Jeez Louise. He's still shaking from that race. Mike, no, dude, you killed it, and I couldn't be happier for you. You definitely deserved it. Hope you can do as good with the Techno short course, or he's gonna slack a little bit longer now with this finish. But he did amazing. I was really happy with his finish, and really impressed that he was able to be there at the end for sure.
Yeah.
So now we will get to the big boy class, and Nitro Truggy. Man, I gotta say though, I had so much fun pitting for Johnny Rocket in here. This was his first Nitro run with the Truggy, and man, we had some fun with it. It was super cool. But Chris Rat, surprise visit coming all the way from the States, and just showing Kevin that he had a little something for him. And Kevin was telling me that Chris was his protege, but man, he definitely showed him who's boss in the Nitro Truggy class. Kevin had a few spots where he was shining and had faster laps, but just couldn't keep it together when he needed to, and unfortunately gave the win to Chris. Number 3, Brandon Hong, super impressed by his finishes. Monty Wolf in the 4, and Lawrence Scott rounding out the top 5, but definitely cool. Yeah, no, Mike did look good in all classes this weekend. He showed up and was ready to rock and roll. Yeah. All right, so we got the electric Truggy A main, and what can I say? Super stoked to announce this, but Andrew Blakely, dominating victory for him. I'm hoping it gives him the confidence to catch somebody, that could be, Anyways, awesome run for Andrew Blakely. Super stoked that he was able to hold off hard charging Kevin. They definitely had a wicked pace, and to see them two battle was awesome. And then look at number 3. Honestly, like, Johnny was on a tear as well, and for the amount of time he was up on the driver's stand, I think when it all was said and done, 45 minutes straight or something like that, he was in
crazy.
the got the bounce, 10 scale, nitro. I was going to bring him food up there. I thought he was up there so long. Number 4, Peter Auld. Definitely a good run for him. And Paul, definitely showing that he still hasn't forgotten how to pull the trigger, and was super cool to see.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Lawrence Scott with the comeback. First race back after a long time. Yeah, for sure. Oh, thanks, Matt. You guys definitely had a great showing in the few classes that we're going to get to next. But we got, E-Buggy and
Nitro Buggy, I think. Yeah.
and Nitro Buggy left. So
yeah,
this is funny because if you didn't know by the announcement and the recording, Douglas was actually here for this race. He obviously went tone to tone. He had a lap on the field, and it was funny because the battle was between Chris and Brandon. Chris was giving it hell, but unfortunately couldn't catch Brandon for the number 2 spot. Well, let me take that back. He caught him multiple times. They battled back and forth. They were passing each other. It was super exciting, and unfortunately, Chris made a few too many mistakes there. Steve, man, awesome run for 4th place out of Steve. Big surprise out of Robert Quick. His first race back with the Mayako, first race with Mayako, but definitely a strong showing for the Mayako team there for sure.
Yeah.
No. How many attended Otterville this weekend? How many racers? I think it was a $180. I got to check the official for you, Jeff.
It was 180 entries and then like high 80, low 90s in people, I think.
Yeah, it was impressive, man. And to pull it off in a one-day event
it was good.
Oh yeah, it was definitely crazy.
Yeah.
But man, you were on a tear. John was worried about the lap times here, thinking that we might have to do a little something. He said, "Scroll to the bottom." The graphs. Yeah, the battles here were like bonkers. The battles here were bonkers. Battle here was intense between Rat. Oh yeah, it was nuts.
That was crazy. No, that was.
But definitely,
it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely pretty cool. So, last but not least, we have. Oh, bottom of the events for the stats. Oh, I gotcha. All right, so we got Pro Nitro Buggy coming up. We got the TQ to my virtual right. But let's see. Douglas again. And Kevin and Art were both looking racy this weekend.
Yeah,
but,
super solid.
Douglas taking the convincing win with a 2-lap lead over my guy, Andrew Bacard. Man, I was so proud of him pitting, and I was super nervous that battle. I know you let Kevin by, and I was like, Douglas, just hold him up, just let him go. And he was super nice. Douglas let him go. I was like, oh, what's going on? But it was cool to see Andrew hold off Kevin charging again. It was awesome. Super proud of the whole team. 157 entries. Here we go. From the official, 157 entries, 84 individual drivers. It was a super fun time. You got Peter Head in the number 4 and JC in the 5. And you know what? He stayed Sunday. I got to talk to him a little bit. And if he can figure out the handling of his car, he is going to be a weapon for sure. I was really impressed with that. So now that we got all that out of the way, who was your competition this weekend?
I would say Kevin and Andrew for Nitro
Bless
Buggy,
you.
and I'd probably say
you.
Steve and Chris for E-Buggy probably. And Justin. I'd
Yeah.
say Justin. I'd say Justin too. Justin had an amazing weekend.
Yes.
Even though the guy
Yeah.
never likes to change anything that's on his car, which is just, I don't know. I'm talking to him and he's like, oh yeah, I was like, dude, what do you spend all your time doing? He was like, oh, I just clean my cars. I was like, did you change anything? No. I was like, what? He was like, oh, he's like, I got so used to just adapting to my cars and just kind of letting the car do its thing. He's like, he says, I don't want to test anything yet. He's like, I haven't had a practice day on the car. And he's like, I don't want to try anything. And I was like, dude, you have second locked up. Try something. He's like, no, I'm just going for practice day. Okay. Whatever.
I'm good. I'm good.
Like, I'm good.
I'm
okay.
so good.
Yeah.
No, it was super cool to see. So 2 super strong weekends in a row. Obviously, if everybody that doesn't know, we got 23, 24 tuning in right now. What is the difference you think so far from this season from past? Like, is it just your confidence level? Is it like the new combo? Is it like what something's going
I
on?
would say definitely the newer updated cars, and then I would say my program itself has just been definitely taken even more seriously and more pay attention to details, I could say.
Okay.
And then again, the switches that I made this year for especially my Nitro program definitely helped.
Okay.
And then for E-Buggy, got the new E-Buggy, so that helped in that area. And then some electronics on the car have been switched out and tried and tested and changed, so which helped again. So, but I all in all, I would say it was definitely just taking my race program to more in depth of going like, hey, I'm at this level, but I need to try and test and do more to get to the next level. Because without that, it's like that's what I wish I could do even more practicing. Like I wish I had a track that was closer, because like if I could do more practicing, even though I would get more testing, and I'd be even better. Because there's still so many things on both cars that I was like, man, I wish I could just test them. And it's so hard too, because at a race, it's like, man, you want to do well, and you don't really want to test. And it's like when you do test, it's like maybe a third qualifier, or maybe the track's not the same, or anything like that.
You're making everybody nervous right now. I'm just saying, like everybody's like, man, no, you can't move to a track or get close. Like if you get more practice and more testing time on your gear, it's going to be lights out.
But that's what I mean. But that's what it comes out again with the support, sponsors, with the program, everything. It's made my race program better, easier, more in the faster, I guess, direction, as you could say. But it's one of those things where, what's your home track? Otterville. That's my closest track, because Otterville is hour 15, Barnes about an hour and a half, Crestwood's 2 hours, and then you guys are 2.5. I agree. And this is something that I will say. And this is what I will say to guys who are looking to the next level. Pros do the same thing until they do it wrong. Guys who are in the intermediate do it until they get it right. And there's a huge difference in that.
Yeah.
Because guys get it. They continue to get it up until they get it once. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's go. But
right.
The pro goes, no. I need to do that 10, 12, 15, 20 more times until I get it wrong.
That's insane, because they keep pushing.
And that's the thing. Once you think about that mentality and you do it like that, once you get to that point where you do it wrong, you just figured out something you can go faster in. Or you just learn something new about the car and go, hey, I need to fix this on the car.
Right.
But sometimes it takes that long. People don't realize that. I can tell you this. I know with pro drivers, they go to a track, they may test 3 things, and they're very simple things, but they go back and forth and back and forth, back and forth multiple times just to make sure that what they changed was in the right direction. And it's that mentality of they're doing it until they get it wrong.
Damn, right. Because they
That's
don't
the
care,
mental.
because they're testing and they're putting in the work and they're
Exactly.
practicing with purpose.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Don't go and drive your car for an hour, 45 minutes, half hour, whatever it is, and not try anything.
You'd
You're
be crazy.
just
You're just
abusing the car.
agreed.
And this, at least for me, because the way I adapt, I go and make a change. Unless I'm trying to go for a lap time or try to feel the track, I go out there, couple minutes max. That's it. I know guys who go out there and it's 5-6 laps. That's it. If the car isn't faster, I'm going back. That's just the way it is. Because anything longer, you adapt too fast. The car doesn't feel the same, and you've just went, oh, the car feels good, but you just adapted to the car. And that's the hardest thing. Is having that ability to know when you've gone too long and when the change is not right.
Yeah.
Because at that level, regardless of what change you make, you can make that car do what you want. But it's being able to do it with ease and not having to force it. And people, they get it, but they don't. Because they go, man, I need wheel time. We need wheel time. You need wheel time, but you need wheel time setting up the car. And that's the thing.
Right.
They think that, but you just need to drive the car and drive the car and drive the car. That works to an extent. And this is what I would say, with hot rods, I put a lot of hours in there. But every time I put hours in there, I wasn't just driving the track. I was going, there was 3 or 4 things I wanted to try, and that's when I tested for the night. And then I'd go back 3 days later or something like that, and I'd try 3 or 4 more things. And it's just something as simple as try a shim here, remove a shim here, maybe change or upgrade this little piece and see if it makes the car feel any different or if it's better. Just something very, very, very light.
Yeah.
Or is all that's needed, repeat, test, and change. Yeah, for most people, that's usually what it is. It's just that you need that little bit of window to do that testing. For me, I make it shorter just because by 4 minutes, I've just adapted to my car over again. So I try to do it 1 and 2. I know guys who do 5-6 laps and that's it, which is like a minute and a half. That's it.
Yeah, that's insane. But they're in tune with the car, and they would know that the change either went too far the wrong way, or okay, they're happy with that change, and it didn't get them faster. But they got to go back.
Yeah, and that's just something I go, man. It's a feel thing. Where's about the States area?
Oh, I learned that last night.
Yeah.
That's crazy. His home track too. He's definitely stepping it up, and I feel that he might be one that will be battling you semi soon. And
I give kudos to Steve on that one because I give kudos to Steve for me and Chris because Steve's really put Chris on the right path. I would say to keep your shit together. You make sure your tires are clean, bodies are good, things are checked over. You go and do this. You listen to the thing. You give feedback. Let's make some changes. He's been very in that sense. Because before it's hard again. That's the thing where I say the support is a big factor. Because if you're a newer guy or someone who's at that level but don't know where to go next, it makes it easier if you can bounce the idea off of someone who's maybe not as fast or maybe a little faster, but is more knowledgeable than you about something.
Right.
It makes it easier, 1, to understand, 2, to think about, and then 3, you can apply maybe a change that you never thought about that guy did and go, oh, maybe I like that better than my change that I thought about.
Oh, 100%. That is why I was super blessed to have the team pitting together.
Yeah.
Because hearing Andrew Bakar and Jeff Boulay bouncing ideas off of each other, then Ollie was there, and then we had freaking everybody in the peanut gallery, everybody throwing in their ideas, and it was a big mishmash, and everybody got faster. Because Jeff Boulay killed it this weekend, and he gave me hope that older guys can still hang. Because, man, he was on a mission.
Really well. He did
for
very,
sure.
very, very well.
No, Oliver blew me away this weekend, man. Seeing his work ethics in the pits, seeing how much he helped the whole team, and he was doing all the work he needed to keep getting faster every time out. He was just doing what you said.
Yeah.
So Hello, guys. Great job, Douglas. Can't wait to see
Yeah,
you.
can't wait to see you too, man. It's gonna be awesome.
And then, we got to talk about this. I have it written down. That's what I was pointing to right here. Talking about the Surface. Here it is. Boom. Wipe that one off. Get it off the list. My impressions are it was super fun. I'm not going to lie. I like having the off-road feel and this and that. The only negative was what John pointed out was the dust storm that ensued. You could tell that we were running in some dusty conditions for sure. But what do you think? What do you think of the Surface?
It was definitely good. Like I like that more. I guess what people call the off-road feel, but I like that looser grip, low grip situations better. I feel like it really brings out the best in drivers in the way of like setups to tires to car to adaptability to everything. Yeah, I mean, all in all, it was great. I can't complain. I feel like maybe tire wear was a little higher than guys were expecting compared to the
I
past
wrote
layout.
that down as well. It
Yeah,
honestly it came down to having the right size pin and possibly the right compound.
yeah,
If you had a harder or softer rim, that would kind of play a little difference in the tire wear as well. I got a lot of experience and knowledge from the tire guys this weekend, which was awesome. I don't know if you guys heard about Traction RC. Wesley's trying to start that whole team up, and he's doing a great job. But the cool thing was hearing everybody's perspective on what tire to run. And what they were saying was they wanted to have a ribbing on the outside of the tire and having a bigger pin. And that was the tire choice going into the later mains. And I think that it worked for the most part. I'm not sure even what tires Douglas ran, but we'll let him say that. What were you running, bud?
I ran Axemans from BP Pro.
Nice for the
Yeah,
main.
yeah. I ran them all day. I didn't switch.
So you're just tuning the buggy then.
Yeah, I did a little bit tuning, more on the nitro side than the e-buggy. But I definitely was tuning more to that. I still did my tuning of the e-buggy just more at the beginning of the day,
Okay.
but it was definitely more on the nitro side just because of how much it changed. Because we ran the nitro in the morning, which was a little bit of a switch up, or like in the
Mhm.
first part of the round, which is a little different. But other than that, it was just like I said, it was finding that, like you said, the right tire to compound where you weren't a run and then burning a set off. So I know some guys who would run
True.
that small pin tire, you go out and run a qual, and then the center of the tread pattern is completely bald by the end of your qualifier.
Which is really aggressive.
It's rough. I won't lie, it's rough, but it's one of those things where it's like because the track is so much like on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle, like you're either in or you're out. It's 100% or nothing.
Yeah.
Because of you come down the straightaway, come back, you're basically full throttle up that little rumble strip. Come back,
Yeah.
drop down, you're full throttle. That back section, you're flowing right through it. The
Yeah.
only really slow section you have is that like pinwheel that he has there.
Mhm.
But everything else, you're really like that mid to high end throttle range where you're always spinning tires or potentially not going anywhere with spinning tires.
I seen you putting the power down, and it was
Yeah,
epic coming out of the first turn. Was just
we're all spinning tires, and you could tell, but it was just who had enough carcass to get through it all, or enough
Right.
tire tread pattern, or the big enough pin. Because I know guys who ran the small pin, and they're like, it's faster and it's better, but it's like I'm less consistent. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but I'd rather have the consistency and be 2/10 slower than have the 2/10 faster, and then my average lap be half a second slower.
Agreed. I
Because
screwed myself over in the
this was
main.
this was the
Big time.
problem with for some guys is it was the small pin would work one good because and this is the hardest thing. The small pin was that you come into that corner one time, it may feel money. It's great. It's working amazing. That next
Yeah.
corner, some guy 4 cars behind you dusted that corner, and you go through it, and you're now on ice hockey pucks.
Stepping
You have no
out.
grip. You have no grip. Your car's stepping out. It's doing weird things. You're like, well, what just happened? I just went through it. It was
Right.
great. but because it's so small, and I think that sand is coming up a little bit, you need that extra something to cut through. So, and it's hard too, because it's like you couldn't really use too much of that widespread tire.
No, Matt.
No. You good points. Yeah, 100%. Like any time you're wide open more, you're going to be using more tire. It's just the way it is. And especially when there's no momentum to the car, like you come into the throttle, you're on the brakes full, basically to almost dead stop. Then you're coming around the corner and you're wide open again. That eats tires. It eats the tires because you're wide open to braking, which is sliding the entire time, to then back on the throttle where you're opening up everything, which is spinning even more than you were on the braking, and then going through the section again. And there was more than one section on the track that was like that. So, and it was hard. Like I said, if you went with that wider pin spread tire, you were going to wear the tire faster than you were if you were a closer space tire. Because the pins were just going to be folding over each other and just gone. That's it.
Yes, I got to hear this the whole talk yesterday when we had the faster guys in my pits, and I love having the faster guys pitting with the new guys to the team because they leveled everybody up. The tips that Jeff shared with the majority was epic. He took Adriano's truggy and stepped them up big time. He showed them about the way to set the droop better, like a whole bunch of things. And having the team around, you'll notice more things when you're looking over everybody's cars because they're all the same car.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, it's as much as you guys had that great support, which is awesome, and it really helps out the team. It goes back to that you get that bouncing the ideas off of everybody, because a lot of people don't have that, and it can hurt some people. It can help some people, because here's the thing too. The worst kind of person you want to have is someone who's fast and then who's not willing to share the info with you, or who's willing to share it, but it's something that's not even true. That's not himself is not even running. That's the last thing you want. Like, there's so many people who will do one thing and tell you the complete opposite.
Now, I'm hoping John's asking me, because if not, I was running 37.5 in the front, and I was running 32.5 in the rear. But I'm not running the kick-ass shocks that you are, though. So, John, if you're asking me or if you're asking Douglas, just put a comment again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because he's actually got a better setup than me right now, John McDonald. He got the Euro kit on his e-buggy, and it's got the longer shock towers, he stepped it up this year, and I'm like, wow.
It was good. Yeah. But, no, it's one of those things where it's like, again, and then shocks. I'll go into this. Shocks are such a key role. Maybe not on John's so much, just because of how smooth it always stays. But if you get to a track, and John's been very good with that. His track really doesn't blow out. But if you get to that tracks like in the US, they blow out, man, all the time. Like, I can't stress. Like, I think when I went to Wicked, that track blew out worse than Silver State this year and DNC that same year. Like, there was craters in the track where I could literally drop my buggy in the crater. And you couldn't see it.
Like feet deep. It's crazy how big
we would literally come off the end of the straightaway wide, and then before the corner there was like a rut here and a rut here. We had to split it in between to get to the corner, and then like S-section it through to get to the corner. Just so you could miss the big ruts, because it was crazy. And that's the thing too, like, the shock setup is maybe not too important in tracks in Ontario, but once you get to those bigger tracks where it's bigger jumps, bigger ruts, different surfaces. Hey Damon, how are you? Thank you, buddy. Once you get to those tracks, the shocks play a big role. A bigger role. Like, it's huge role. So important. Yeah. And that's one thing that I'm always very hesitant about. I don't know if those pro guys really write down what's in their shocks on those setup papers.
No way. No
There's
freaking way.
Because like the stuff that they put on there, and like you get it, and you're trying like, yeah, it's good, but it's not as good as what they were. You're like, hey, what's going on here? Because it's like, man, it is rough sometimes.
So shock package. We'll get into yours. What pistons are you running? Are you running the Wiggins still?
Yeah, it's just the Wiggins. He fluctuates with them, kind of with how he does them.
Okay.
He'll change them. Maybe like this year he changed them by. You used to get the stock piston. He used to make you get blanks and then drill a certain pattern in them.
Right.
Where now it's just like take the stocks and then add these 4 holes to them, and then in the 4 spots that are left in the piston, just to make it easier for you.
Right.
But it's still the same piston as what you were going to be running before. It's just in a different orientation. It just makes it easier for the consumer to drill it and modify it to whatever they want.
Nice.
And then oil wise, I had 700 in the front and 650 in the rear.
That's so close to what Andrew was running.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what I'm running. But it's you have to run so thick because there's so many holes in the piston. It's like a 10-hole piston or something like that. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I actually,
so like
I'm right around here, but
yeah, it's crazy. So it's like you gotta run that thicker, higher oil. And I don't get it. Some guys, like the guys in the US, like they'll run those pistons and they're running like 450 and 425. I'm like, that's water. I'm like, it's like they literally felt it. It's water. I was like, it's literally water. I'm like, what is that? Like Wiggins when he won the Vegas race, the cash prize.
Okay.
Dude, he ran his piston with 450 in the front and 400 in the rear. In those 35-degree temperatures. Okay,
so we're going back to what you just said. Do you think he's truly reporting what he was running in there?
I don't know. This is my question. He told me that when I asked him in Wicked in person.
Okay.
That's what he told me. And I felt his buggy, and it wasn't that far, like, because he writes the number of what he has in oil right on the shock body.
Oh.
So if you look in the pictures, you can read it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you feel his buggy, I can see it. His buggy feels just super light. It just whatever, there it is. And that's just the way it is. And some people like that. But Wiggins, again, he's one of those guys who has those setups that are just so far out in right field that they just really work for him. And that's it.
That's crazy.
Come on, diff fluids. Yeah, it depends. This weekend was more of a lighter diff, but again, it also depends on if you have the new diff internals and all that stuff to make the oil thicker.
Breaking it in still.
Yeah, because if you have the old diffs, I'd say your fluids are going to be somewhere around 10.75 or 10.10.5. If you had the new diffs, your oils could have been 5.53, 6.54.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, you could have done 5.5, 5.43, whatever you wanted. Something in that under 6,000 range in each diff, just because of how much it thickens it up. But yeah, no, and that was another thing. Like they technically came out with that just because they wanted drivers were liking the feel of the lighter oil because it was more consistent.
Right.
But they couldn't get it to last
because they were burning it up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they came up with the way of run that thinner oil, but it reacts thicker, so you can get it to last longer.
Where are you?
So
nice.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, and then because man, I kept you way longer. I just realized we're almost on an hour and a half, dude. So, so John is going to the LCG, smaller redline battery. So he's going from 428 grams down to I want to say like 360 or something like that, maybe 328.
Yeah, it's low 300s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the battery's pretty light.
So would that make a difference in the suspension package? I would like to think it would, maybe 5 to 10 CTPS.
It could affect. It won't affect really the shock package. It affects the weight bias of the car. So the car may fly more even.
Okay.
Because I don't know. What do you run before the 7500?
No, it's a 6,000 LCG.
No, I'm saying like what did he use beforehand?
Yeah, 75.
75. So with the
Yeah.
75, the car when it was in there, it might have tilted it in the air to the one side of the battery just because of how heavy it was. I think what we'll find is the 6,000 is that it might fly more balanced and it will lighten the car up. So you might have to change the shock package, but it shouldn't be too much. But again, it's so hard because the battery can change a lot, but it normally doesn't.
Mhm.
It can change the way the car, how much rear grip the car has. It can change the way the car steers in the one direction. It can change the way the car flies. It can change the way the car transfers weight front to back. But usually it only affects the way the car flies and the way the shock package a little bit, maybe a little bit lighter you can get away with. And then usually it ends up affecting how much rear grip the car has too, because you're not throwing as much weight back because there's not as much there. So you might have to make a tiny bit of adjustments, but it's like, could be as simple as, just like maybe lowering the rear ride head a little bit, or
Yeah, just
running
to
it
compensate
different.
for
Just
it. Yeah.
something super little and simple, just to compensate just that little bit. But it wouldn't be anything crazy.
Super cool. All right, so the last thing I have written down, I'm going to rub it out right now, is what is your next event and what is your first big event of the season?
So next event, most likely we'll probably go to Barn next weekend.
Nice.
And then does John have a race the weekend after that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll probably be there after that. And then
Cool.
my big first event in the US will be Rumble in Rome in the beginning of June, the 9th to the 11th.
All right. No,
Yeah.
I was talking to Andrew about that, and we might do a bid for that because with my wife not being able to get all the exact same time off for vacation, I might have to modify a few things. But I got to get to CRC because we were thinking about the first electric Nats, but I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna get there this year for sure.
Yeah.
But I will post up where Ross Racing is going to be for the season. We basically have all of our events ironed out now, and we'll be all right. Matt likes that. But is there anybody you want to thank before I cut you loose and spin that wheel?
Just my mom, my dad, and then
Happy
all my
Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. And then just all my sponsors for, again, the continued support. Again, like they go above and beyond, which is awesome and it's amazing. But definitely it'd be Techno Orca, CRP Group, Summit, Osmatics, JNT, T-Work, CP Pro, Stag, CNC, and Donkers. Because without them, my program would not be where it's at. But they really make what it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And honestly, they're gotta be super stoked about your past results.
Yeah,
2 weekends in a row, dominating fashion. This weekend was so dominating, the announcer actually forgot you were in the race and calling out first and second and third. It was kind of funny a few times, but definitely awesome to see you doing as good as you are. I am looking forward to seeing you being challenged over in the States. I feel that with your new package, the new confidence, and the way that you're just killing it with these new buggies, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do over there, and wish you nothing but the best.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, bud. Thank you for coming on board, and
No
I
problem.
will cut you loose, and I'll bug you again.
See ya.
All right, see you, bud. All right, man. That was Douglas. I kidnapped him for way longer than I thought, man. We are coming up on an hour and a half, which is just crazy. And I know what you guys have all been waiting for. We have to give away a buggy. There's a few people that haven't paid yet, but I'm going to trust that everybody's going to be super honest, win, lose, or draw. And we are going to give away this buggy. Still 2 empty spots, too. So if it comes up on that, I guess we get a free spin. We'll respin it. Let me just copy everything over. Copy. Go to the wheel. We're going to do the wheel decider. Paste list. Add choices. There we go. Got everybody in there. So now this is where you, the viewers, come in and tell me what we're going to do. Oops. We're going to go like this. Apply the wheel. So now we got everybody in. But is there a way that we can show the names? I would much rather have the names. 54 and 58 I paid for. Oh, let me see. I will throw you in. Oh my gosh, you rock, John. You know what? Good luck, bud. Yes, you did. I see that now. So John actually got the last two spots. So if it shows up on a blank one, let me see here. Can I just type his name in? Look at that. He did get him. Okay, I'm going to throw John in to the last two spots. Control C. Control V. Control V. Let's update that one last time. Apply wheel. So is there a way to actually get it so it will show the names? That's what I would love to know. I wonder if it's a size thing or something like that. So we're going to go to the advanced options. How many seconds should we do the wheel spin for? I'm going to say no more than 120. Anything under 120. Anybody going to comment? Let's see. What's the number going to be? Anybody going to comment? Oh, man. Look at that. I'll take it. 69. Matt has that in there, 69. So we're going to apply that change here. And I think we're ready to give away a kit. So I just want to wish everybody good luck, and we will spin it. We got the brand new buggy right here. Two-wheel drive dirt edition. This weekend we had Johnny Rocket pilot the new wheeler to its first win on Canadian soil. Love it. Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. See, it would be more exciting if we actually knew the names on here. Good, oh, man. Brock, congratulations. You have won yourself a brand new two-wheel drive buggy. All you got to do is contact me and we will work out the details. And congratulations. Hopefully this thing will see a local track by us. I'm looking forward to seeing this in action, and happy it went to a new home. But with that being said, it is 1 hour, 35 minutes into the show. Thank you again. Episode 60 is a wrap. We will see you guys next time.